Hello guys, I apologize for the robot voice in advance, but this just has to be said, and I don't know how to articulate myself viral. Anyway, this video is going to be a long one, so you might wanna settle down, get some snacks, and try to relax, because I'm about to spill some hot NCT. I want to start off by saying I love NCT, and when I first came to know about their concept I thought this could be an amazing idea. Alas no. So as the title suggests, I'm going to be listing a couple of points as to why I think their concept isn't going to work out. Apart from the nitpicky there just being too many members to keep up that people often reason it with, because there is some real issues going on, and I'm tired of SM not knowing how to manage their groups properly. First things first, I'm briefly going over how their concept as a whole works, although I'm aware that most people who watch this video might already be familiar with it. For that matter, I'm going to play this short video clip of NCT struggling to explain their concept, as though it isn't literally so easy.
그때 나한테 127 나와봐요 한번 좀.
그래.
자, NCT 127은 뭡니까?
NCT 127은 지역으로 기반한 첫 번째 팀입니다.
서울에서 말하는 거 서울 활동하고
네.
해 나가기만 해봐.
해외 나갈 거예요.
뭐야? 우리 그런 적 있어?
아니 그게 아니라 잠시만요. NCT 127은 왜 서울을 기반으로 해요?
다른 팀들은 이제 드림이나 이제 U 같은 팀들은 계속해서 변형이 될 수가 있어요.
아니 그러니까 내 말은 NCT 127은 왜 9명이 서울을 기반으로 하냐고.
아, 준비가 왜 우리 있냐고요?
아니 우리는 우리지. 그러면 다 서울 사람이야?
아니요.
너 고향이 어디야?
저 시카고.
근데 왜 시카고 기반으로 안 하고 서울 기반으로 해?
왜냐면 K-팝은 서울에서 시작했으니까요.
아, 자. 모르겠네 지금. 그러면 인천이나 NCT 뭐 예를 들면 C도 있나요? NCT 차이나 뭐 이렇게 해가지고?
앞으로.
NCT 인천도 있을 수 있고, 그죠? 쟤는 엄청 웃는 모습이 귀엽네요. 예. 지가 알고 있는 것 같아요. 계속 웃네요. 재밌는 얘기가 없는데? NCT 드림 나와봐, 드림.
나머지 친구들이 마크 또 있네?
너왜 또 나와?
차이가 또 있어.
네, 이게 아까 얘기했듯이 이게 드림이나 U는 연합팀이어가지고 그 나이와 컨셉에 따라 맨날 달라질 수 있는 건데, 저랑 해찬이 같은 경우에는 127에도 있긴 하지만 저희 나이는 아직 그래도 드림을 할 수 있는 나이가 돼서
청소년.
네,
NCT 드림은 뭐예요?
청소년 연합팀이에요.
그럼 다 10대 된 거예요?
네. 만으로 하고 있어요.
드림은 무슨 뜻이에요, 그러면? 요거 좀 이해가 된다, 이
저희는 이제 저희 또래에 있는 10대 청소년 친구들에게 꿈과 희망을 주는 그런 포부를 가지고 있기 때문에 NCT 드림이라는.
그래, 이건 이해가 된다.
가장 지금 졸업 임박한 친구가 있어요. 졸업을 그럼 다시 내일 발로 들어가고.
네, 저는 올해가 만 19살이어서 올해까지.
그러면 또 누가 들어와요?
네, 이건 계속 무한이에요.
저희가 졸업하면, 그러니까 나이가 들면은 다시 이제 서울팀도 들어갈 수 있고 또 다른 새로운 팀에 다 들어갈 수 있어요.
NCT 멤버인데 베이스가 드림이고 20대가 되면 이제 다시 형들하고 같이 놀 수 있고. 쉽게 말해서 형들은 클럽인데 좀 낙하패 아니야. 클럽에 형들이에요, 그 느낌.
자, 그럼 NCT U 나와봐요. 너가 왜 자꾸 있어, 너?
이게
너가 왜 자꾸 있어, 너?
이거는 계속 이제 또 새로운 컨셉에 따라 있는 거라고.
시그널로? 너희는 또 나와.
이거는 곡에 따라서 멤버 조합이 자유로운 거여서
NCT U는 뭔데요?
유나이티드의 약자인데요. NCT 같은 NCT U가 아니라 NCT U 보스, NCT U 일곱 번째 감각, NCT U 위다우트 곡마다 멤버가 또 달라요.
자, NCT, 자, 2018이죠? 정체자.
Now I'm not gonna go into too much depths reflecting on their pre-debut days, debuts or their history as a group, as it doesn't really matter at this point in time, which lets me skip right to my first big issue. NCT 127, despite SM never officially stating this flat out, is plain obviously their main project or unit, whatever you wanna call it. This is obviously due to many circumstances, such as NCT 127 being the only group with a relatively, and I'm putting that lightly, and will elaborate on this point later on, fixed amount of members unlike NCT U, as well as appeal to an older audience with their more mature concepts unlike NCT Dream does. NCT 127 gets the most comebacks, the most music videos, the most promotional activities, the most side projects, the very first world tour. The way SM tries to shove them down everyone's throat, almost as though they are the only unit of NCT, is kind of painful at times. It's obvious that they are setting all their odds on them and their success. And it almost seems as though they are trying to play safe, because NCT 127 is their most conventional unit when it comes to their whole concept. It's pretty common knowledge that most fans dubbed NCT Dream the superior unit, and since I'm trying to stay as unbiased as possible, I'm just going to touch on the fact that NCT Dream, especially for their young age, are very talented in singing, rapping and dancing despite still needing the time and experience to fully polish and develop their talent. But the fact that SM seems to undermine them, even after they were the first unit to win an award on Show Champion as well as the first unit to win a D-Sang, which is a big deal, at the average age of 17, still blows my mind. A few points I'd like to make are: first of all, they suffer from an obvious lack of songs. Despite having 3 mini albums, they still haven't released a proper full album, which leaves them with 15 songs in total, not counting any Chinese versions. Second of all, when they aren't promoting a new song, they seem to be at every festival SM can get their hands on, assumingly because they don't know what to do with them otherwise. Third of all, they get treated like they are merely a side project, meaning SM basically transformed them into a fancier version of YouTubers. Exhibit A, Save NCT Dream, which is more or less a cash grab for Puff. Exhibit B, a new JSMR every other week. Exhibit C, Dream doing a V-Live like every week when they don't have schedules, which is, you guessed it, oftentimes. Exhibit D, changes this or that. The way NCTU is managed honestly baffles me the most. Their whole concept is that the members are exchangeable and assembled in order of who fits the concept of the song the most. If that is the case, I'm wondering why it's mostly Mark, Taeyang, Doyoung and Jihyun who they seem to be prone to. Of course they might just always fit a concept, but nonetheless, when they literally have 21 people to choose from, but they always seem to settle for a few specifically, it has to start rubbing people the wrong way eventually. Another good question would be why they tend to put Win-Win in NCTU and then completely disregard him, meaning he fits the concept, but they refuse to give him neither screen time nor lines anyway. Like, what for? It's such a blatant display of favoritism, which is also something I'll touch on later on as well. It honestly sickens me. Here are some examples of lineups that would actually explore the concept they pride themselves with: a Mark and Johnny English solo, a Gino and Jimin rap solo, a song with NCT 127's vocal line as well as Ranjin, a song where all the main dancers get to show their talent, maybe just any song with Dream members at all, one with all the members who only get a single line usually. There are so many possibilities. Why does SM not use what they have? Right, because of favoritism. Now let's get into the confusing topic, that is WayV. Are they even a proper part of NCT? Is Win-Win still in 127? Does anyone in WayV have the possibility to switch to other NCT units, or is that off limits? SM is annoyingly secretive about the way they are planning to work with WayV, and what at first appeared to be a promising new unit kind of lost its momentum when they decided to debut them with not one, but 2 recycled NCT 127 songs alongside only one original. Promotion honestly lacked back in January apart from the content they uploaded on YouTube. And despite Rainbow V being a great opportunity for them to show off their talent individually, it still kind of felt like they weren't a proper unit yet. And that's exactly the problem with WayV. SM doesn't promote them, like, at all. Which irks me so much, because they are all incredibly talented in their proper debut. Inmay had amazing songs. Not to mention that it topped charts left and right. I have a bad feeling that WayV is going to be nothing more than a niche thing, like they are just going to be shipped off to China and forgotten, in a way, especially since they seem so determined to block any evidence that WayV is a part of NCT by not letting them interact with the other members and trying to find a new fan name. As well as since a lot of people claim they are only WayV stans now and don't care for the rest of NCT anymore. This is also something that SM seems to pride themselves in, putting a member in more than one group. There's no way they couldn't have just found new members for 127 when they needed Haechan and Mark in Dream, or vice versa, so they did it with the thought in mind that it would be a good idea, and in a way it does seem beneficial, letting idols unfurl their talent in groups with different concepts and show their versatility. That is until Dream hasn't had a comeback in 9 months, because one of their members is busy promoting with the other group. or Mark overworking himself for 3 years straight because he has to switch from one schedule to the next when they decide to give everyone a comeback at once. Or when they pulled Win from 127 because Wavy finally had their debut. My point is SM doesn't know how to reconcile all their schedules for them to not overlap. Maybe that's just an impossibility, but if that's the case, just don't do it. I'm tired of seeing NCT Dream perform as a 6-piece because Haechan is busy with 127 schedules. And I'm pissed that this is NCT Dream's last year before 4/6 of the original lineup graduate and the whole unit gets shaken up again. I've touched on this earlier, but this topic deserves its whole own section because it's so frustrating, especially as an outsider as well as a fan, to see this happening. Of course favoritism is happening everywhere in K-pop, and in the industry overall. It's more or less a natural part of it. More attractive members, more talented members, or overall just more popular members get more attention. Duh. And sometimes it's so subtle it's hard to notice at first, especially when you mostly focus on the group as a whole. And maybe I was just ignorant up until recently, but I've never felt like it was as bad as it's been the past year or so for NCT. This is all based on my perception only of NCT 127, since I feel like for the other units there's not much to say that I haven't said before, as well as it doesn't feel as extreme for them. It's not exactly a secret that Taeyong and Mark are SM's favorites, along with, how I perceive it at least, Jihin and Lucas. Correct me if I'm wrong though, that's just my perception. They are conveniently also the only ones who have had solo songs / collaborations with other artists. Whilst Johnny, Yuta and Win have to hope they make an appearance in the music video, or get a line in a song. I have to give credit where credit is due though, for some the treatment has been getting better. Like Haechan, who's been getting a lot more screen time and a decent amount of lines in 127 the past year or so. Or Jungwoo, who finally feels like he's a proper member of NCT, not just a background dancer. For TL I have to say he is 100% the best vocalist in NCT, yet gets mostly just ad-libs in all their songs and a high note or two, and his screen time is severely lacking as well, when he deserves so much more. I'm not gonna go into too much depth about each member. For the rest I feel mostly like it's fluctuating quite a bit, so I cannot form a proper opinion on it. All I can say is, especially as a NCT Zen, I feel tired of constantly seeing the same 4 faces and hearing the same 4 voices when I know they got so much more to offer. And when I know the other members are overflowing with talent, and it's so confusing to me why SM won't let them show it. Despite everything, I have to acknowledge that the line distribution has been getting significantly better for the past 2 albums. On the downside, it has also been getting more obvious that NCT isn't happy with the situation. What especially reinforced that was the repeated displeasure members showed in the Superhuman music video reaction video, which gave me deja vu to when Win did the same in Simon Says. Let's take a quick look.
알겠다. 와, 내 나오면 알려줘.
와, 근데 역시
나 어디 갔어?
근데 확실히 수성 안무 전이어가지고 좀 다른 게 있다.
와, 진짜 우리 잘 나왔던 것 같아.
SM 잘했다.
TL looks unhappy the entire video. Yuta was throwing not so subtle shade. Johnny looked sad when he didn't get screen time for his part. The laughter when Doyoung said SM did great for this video. This is honestly so awful to watch, and eye-opening to how much bad treatment from their company actually affects the members personally. I know this probably won't change anytime soon or even ever, but I really do hope it gets better, at least as time goes on. This one doesn't exclusively apply to NCT, since SM has a rather active record of treating their Chinese artists differently from the rest. The biggest evidence in this case being previous SM idol even going as far as to file a lawsuit against the company. And that's just the icing of the cake. Right now I'm going to be talking specifically about Chinese idols, though one could argue that this applies to all foreign idols under SM. Exhibit A, Win. Not only does Winwin get an average of 0.5 lines in each song along with a screen time where you would miss it if you blinked, he's also being constantly restrained from showing his full potential. For example, him explaining how SM doesn't allow him to either dance nor sing on the variety show My Brilliant Masters, SM declining an acting role for Meteor Garden on his behalf, or when they removed him from NCT 127 without an official statement just to act like he was never a part of them in the first place, when he was literally in the original lineup. Winwin has especially been the center of controversies recently, with people even saying he should leave SM. And in all honesty, I wouldn't blame him if he did. Exhibit B, Ranjin and Charlo. Ranjin is, in my opinion, one of the best vocalists in NCT, and still gets overshadowed so much, especially since he seems to be pretty much on the same level as Haechan vocally, but still suffers from getting a noticeably less amount of lines than Haechan does in Dream Song. Charlo on the other hand barely gets any lines at all, along with, what I've been noticing, barely any screen time in their music videos. Both of them oftentimes get schedules simultaneously when the rest of the members have schedules of their own, which leaves them out of group activities and such. Overall, it's getting increasingly more obvious that SM doesn't know how to treat their Chinese idols right. This also ties right back into Wavy's mistreatment I've touched on earlier. Now this is going to be a quick one, because the video is already way too long as it is, but I really wanted to touch on the fact that I, as well as many other fans, strongly believe SM is making a mistake by breaking up NCT Dream just like that. Of course, I understand that it's a graduation system and they can't stay together as NCT Dream forever. Yet I believe the most obvious option would be to create a new subunit for the original lineup once all Dreamers have debuted. Their chemistry as a group is no joke. I'd even go as far as to admit I've never seen a group that fits together as effortless as they do before, especially since there's a whole 7 of them. NCT Dream are pretty much the main reason as to why I stick with NCT the way I do. And this might be wishful thinking, but it would be such a loss to see the last of them as a group this year. This is something that I want to shortly talk about too, only because I've been thinking about it so much lately and I cannot, for the love of God, make sense of it. TEN had his debut on April 9, 2016 with NCTU. Then almost a year later he released his solo song Dream in a Dream, only to then wait yet another year to appear again on Empathy, which means he hasn't been in a proper unit for a whole of 3 years before finally joining Wavy. And I don't understand it at all. TEN is literally the most talented member of NCT, if not under SM as a whole. He can sing, he can rap, he's an amazing dancer, he's got the charisma, stage presence and looks. He's the definition of a full package. And SM knows it. They wouldn't have given him 2 solo songs if they didn't. So why the hell did they hide him for so long? They couldn't have specifically been waiting for Wavy's debut, because then they wouldn't have let Winwin debut in NCT 127 either. And it's taken 3 years after all. Were there internal issues? What happened? Like, they cannot tell me that TEN didn't fit NCT 127's concept, when their concepts are constantly changing anyway. I will probably never make sense of this, but I really do feel like TEN was, and still is, so much wasted potential. He's the only member who I could see go solo right now and actually become huge. He gives me strong Teamin vibes. And the way SM is so obviously restricting his full potential and talent and artistic freedom drives me insane. I really am excited to see what the future has in store for him. So, that's it. Now I have to end this video with a conclusion, otherwise it's just me talking shit about SM because I can. There isn't much to say that hasn't been said already. I mainly decided to make this video because I found myself getting increasingly frustrated at the way NCT is being managed for a while now, and how I went from thinking their concept could be something amazing the more it grows to seeing it fail at the hands of poor planning / management before it even fully kicked off. There's still a tiny flicker of hope that next year SM will introduce a new unit that's actually able to bring something new to the table. If they don't, as well as if their mistreatment continues the way it does now, I really am not far off from leaving the fandom. As much as I love the boys and their music, oh boy does SM make me fucking mad. Anyway, please leave your thoughts in the comments. And if you've come this far, thank you so much for sticking through. Okay, bye.